What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and I'm here with
Gershwan.
And once again, we're back at it to answer you his questions in another episode of For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below, but put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first.
And this one isn't a question per se, but it's a very interesting concept that we'd like to elaborate more on. So, Jay has asked that he really wants this to happen. What if Magnus the Red successfully invades the Golden Throne and destroys the Emperor's body? But just after, he realizes that the Emperor has been holding on to the fragmented pieces of humanity ever since the fall. Magnus then tries to see if he could pilot the Golden Throne, and he does so with ease. He then realizes his true purpose and seeks forgiveness from the Emperor. The Emperor reincarnates and removes the chaos corruption from Magnus.
Yeah, that can definitely happen. You laid it out perfectly based on like what the lore is, except for the last part. But yes, Magnus could easily take over the Emperor's spot.
Yeah, that was the idea for the Emperor. Once the whole unification of humanity ended, the whole idea was for Magnus to sit on the Golden Throne.
Yeah, and the Emperor is eternal, so even if he were to die and Magnus takes over, he empowers the Astronomicon, keeps the warp gate closed. Eventually, the Emperor is going to come back. How he comes back is, that's up to like speculation, but like you speculated that he comes back and he redeems Magnus. He would never be able to fully get rid of Magnus's empowerments. Once you go chaos, you can't go back.
Right.
That is the reason that Horus obliterated the soul of Horus.
Or the Emperor obliterated the soul of Horus.
Because he knew that the Chaos Gods were in his soul and they were never going to let him be free. So instead, what he did is that's my favorite son, so I'm just going to completely destroy him so he doesn't live in misery and become or continue to be the pawn of chaos. So I don't think Magnus would be redeemed in the sense of getting rid of his demonic powers, but he could be redeemed in the sense of like the Fallen, kind of like Cypher. Well, not even to that level because he actually has mutations.
Yeah.
And stuff.
And having Magnus actually sit on the Golden Throne, and basically he is in control of what happens to humanity at any one point in time, since he still has the mutations and the effects of Zeech. Zeech could whisper into him, and Magnus can once again turn evil or turn to chaos and open up all these warp gates throughout Terra and just have a demonic invasion. So actually having that happen, that is a huge just bomb waiting to go off, because Magnus himself could actually feel the need to forgive himself and try to save humanity, but since he still has since Zeech still has his soul, he's never gonna let go of him, especially now that he's so close to Terra, to the Emperor, and to humanity's essentially life strings. Zeech will be 1,000 times more hungry to make his plans go into action.
Yep. One way that I guess you could say redemption could happen is all Space Marines say when they redeem the traitors, what they mean is they're killing them.
Yeah.
So the Emperor could come back and instead of taking away the chaos powers, just outright obliterates the soul of Magnus, and Magnus allows that to happen. And then he takes over the Golden Throne again, but this time not in the dilapidated state that he was.
Do you think
that could happen?
So you think if that did happen, essentially Magnus is giving his life for the Emperor to come back as a perpetual?
Yeah.
The Emperor, would he still need to sit on the Golden Throne, or would his might be so strong that he could power the Astronomicon without having to sit on the throne?
Right, his might would be as powerful enough because he would. It depends on how he comes back, I guess.
That's true. Yeah.
But during the Great Crusade, that's what he was doing. He was fighting the Great Crusade, but he was still powering the Astronomicon back on Terra because of how psychically powerful he was. So,
right,
it's a possibility.
There's a lot of ifs and speculation on that, but it's a very cool theory. I always like all these redemption arcs for Magnus. This just goes to show you that the people really like Magnus.
He did nothing wrong. Except everything. This question comes from Chapter Master Christoph Thorne. Why don't they just lift the entire Imperial Palace into space and away from Terra so that the Emperor can safely leave the throne? Unfortunately, there is a warp gate right there that the Emperor is keeping closed. You can't lift a warp gate out. It's just, it exists between the veil of reality and the warp. It's not you can't just like rip it off. It's like a belly button.
A belly button.
It's like a belly button.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
You can't move a belly button. You could destroy it and then like put it somewhere else. But like create a new belly button. It wouldn't be the same belly button. Unless you have an Audi. Next question.
Neon Hearts. Do you prefer Chaos or the Space Marines, and why? Lore-wise, gameplay-wise, definitely gameplay-wise, like on the tabletop, Chaos has more flavor to it.
Really?
I feel like you can do more with Chaos than with Space Marines.
Oh, I see that.
Like they have more options available to them. You can ally them with demons. You could go all 4 Chaos Gods, Slanesh, Khorne, Nergal, Tzeentch. You could have demon engines in there. You could go with the whole Lorgar aspect and have it be more like of a religious theme. Yeah, Space Marines, you have a lot to choose from, but I feel like their units are very limited. Like you have your Space Marines, you have your Primaris, and you have your vehicles, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I agree. Because sometimes you don't know the difference between like an Imperial Fist and the Ultramarines. There's only like one chapter tactic that really makes them different. Whereas if you play Plague Marines, they feel completely different than playing Bloodthirsters. Like
Berserkers and all that stuff.
Yeah, but Berserkers. Because the first thing that I thought is Chaos Space Marines, Berserkers. Berserkers are slow. They're slow and they're not very good on the tabletop, whereas like Space Marines can be faster, but then you're missing out on the Rubric Marines, you're missing out on the Plague Marines, the Noise Marines. So yeah, I agree now. Chaos.
Now, lore-wise, what would you say?
Same, Chaos, just because of what you said. Like you can, if you do want to create your own warband, you have way more that you can do than with Space Marines.
Yeah, it's like Space Marines, you could choose to ally with the... what is it called? The Codex compliant armies, or go completely renegade and still be loyal to the Emperor, but just not listen to the Codex.
But even then, you're still restricted to like certain things that Space Marines wouldn't do.
Right.
Whereas with Chaos, there is none of that.
You're free to do as you please, as long as you're pleasing that god. Or you can go undivided.
Yep.
And have access to everything if you want.
Like Alfarius and his Alpha Legion. Which are pretty cool. If I were to start a Chaos Space Marine army, it would probably be Alpha Legion. Next question comes from Ty Shingleton. Why are there 8 points to the Star of Chaos? There are only 4 gods, and they each have their own sacred number, right? Yes. It alludes to something. I just can't remember what it is. Do you know off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head, no.
I'll create a 40 facts video on the symbolism of chaos just for you, Ty. Shingleton. Because I can't think of it off the top of my head. But yes, each individual chaos god and their number and the numbers of chaos all allude to like different mythological deities and like actual like evil things. How many stars are there in the star of the devil one? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, so that's not right. Yeah, I'll look it up for you. Next question. I have one from... Nope. Yes. Did we already do the silent service? Yeah, we did, right?
This one's by Dennis. So the rumor says that Primaries are coming to Chaos. Don't you guys think it'd be cooler if the Men of Iron came to Chaos? They could find one of those fun learning boxes and start building them. Maybe a cool plot twist for Demon Primarch Perturabo. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been hinted ever since that Primaris first came out that Chaos was also going to get a little bit of a Primaris love as well. Because if you think about it, if Chaos kills a Primaris in battle and they see that these Space Marines are bigger, stronger, faster, newer technology, they're more resistant to taking damage, then yeah, of course they're going to want to experiment on them and take their bodies and see what genetic mutations or implantations they can use to increase the army of Chaos. And yeah, and also it was kind of alluded that Fabius Bile was running experiments too, so it was only a matter of time.
Yep. That actually goes really well into the next question by Tropical Heat. He asks...
Tropical Heat?
Yeah. He asks, how does the Death Guard get new Plague Marines? They sneeze on them, which kind of ties into what you were saying about, like, not having Chaos Primaris yet. That doesn't really work with the lore of Nergal. Nergal is a disease. He spreads diseases, and then you become a Plague Marine once you accept his... basically his contract for you to live forever. Because the way that Nergal usually tempts Space Marines is he will infect them with a disease that causes terrible pain. And I'm pretty sure even though Primaris have better bodies, they're not going to be completely safe from Nergal's rot. But yeah, so... once they have Nergal's rot and it's just destroying every single part of their body and they know they're going to die and the fear of death is sinking in, that's when Nergal comes in and says, hey, I can not only let you live forever, but I will make the pain go away. And then they accept, and then all of a sudden you have some Plague Marines. Yeah, that's how Death Guard are made.
Yeah, which is really nasty if you think about it. It's like, why would you ally with the guy that essentially gave you this, like, disease? It's like, obviously, like, I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me, but it's Chaos. It never will.
Yeah. Nergal is one of, like, I would side with Nergal, though.
But he's the reason why you got sick in the beginning.
I know, but, like, I think what it would be is him or one of his demons would say, really, like, Grandfather Nergal cares about you. He wants you to live forever, and he knows that the only way to do that is for you to have this disease. So that pain is your payment for eternal life. So let me get rid of that pain. You've paid your debt and become one of Grandfather Nergal's warriors. And I'd say, yep.
Just like that?
Just like that, because it makes sense to me.
Don't even finish that sentence. I've already said yes.
Yeah. I just want this pain to go away.
Yeah.
Well, that and the fear of death. Like, aside from, like, Warhammer lore, if you were about to die and a demon or a devil said, I'll let you live forever. And not only that, but you'll live forever and you'll be, like, A-okay. Like, you won't be sick anymore. Wouldn't you say yeah? I would.
But I mean, there's always something to it.
Well, yeah, the something to it is that you become a pawn of Nergal forever.
And you're okay with that? Yeah.
With Nergal, yeah, because, like, I don't feel pain. All I want to do is spread my disease. I would be comfortable with that.
Only Nergal? Like, let's say Khorne came up to you and said, hey, you're a cool warrior, don't die, you can keep on fighting.
I would say yes to all the Chaos Gods, actually. Well, because Khorne, it's like rage. So, like, I'm pretty sure that Khorne would come to you at a point where, like, you're angry. Like, road rage is just hitting you super hard. And then he's like, hey, I can help you destroy that guy that cut you off if you become my dude. And, yeah, I would say yeah.
It's like, hey, you like having sex? You don't want to get old?
Yeah.
You want to feel pleasure to the utmost levels?
Yep.
It's like, shit, you had me at, do you want to have sex?
Yeah. That's the cool thing about the 4 Chaos Gods that are there now. I don't think any of them are really like, yeah, I wouldn't do that.
It's like, hey, you're working at a factory, trying to fuel the Imperial war machine. Die so I could have your soul. That's what the Emperor would say.
That's and
like,
you'd
why?
say no.
Yeah.
Because really, it's the fear that keeps you worshiping the Emperor.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, with the Chaos Gods, it's the incentive.
Right.
Check out our 40 or not our 40 facts. Check out the podcast Dungeon Hammer. We created a podcast that comes out every Thursday. We talk about D&D. We did a video on demons and we talked about contracts. And I think something that we missed to talk about is the power of the incentive.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a devil or if you're a demon and you're trying to get somebody to do something for you, you need to come up with like a good incentive for them to do that. It's going to be easier to do that than to strike fear. Because if you go up to a player in D&D and say, like, either sign my contract or I'll fight you, obviously they're going to be like, let's fight.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm an OP barbarian. Nothing's taken me down yet.
Yeah, but if you take a hint from, like, Nergal and Korn and Zinch and you go, hey, like, side with me and I will give you this cool-ass relic or cool-ass, like, gaming mechanic, you're more likely to be like, yeah, okay, I'll do it.
Right.
And then later on you find out that something bad happened to you.
This relic is slowly stealing your soul or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Those are the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, comment down below.
As always, hit us up on our Instagrams, our Patreons, our YouTubes, Facebooks, and comment below. Sound Alchemist,
Gershwan.
and we're out of here.